There's a good reason Terry Fox is essentially a Canadian demigod. It's a rare specimen of human who loses a leg, learns to tolerate the excruciating pain of running on a prosthetic, and then vows to cross a continent in the service of others. To date, more than $650 million has been raised in his name. That's some serious cancer-curing money. But you can never be Terry Fox. Nor is it economically advisable to try. One of the side effects of the Marathon of Hope is that it has led almost all of Canada to believe that there's almost nothing that can't be solved by running from St. John's to Victoria, or cycling, or unicycling, or riding a horse, or just driving. But here's the thing. If your name isn't Terry Fox or Rick Hansen or Steve Fogno, this is probably one of the least efficient ways to raise money for charity. Here's the rough financials on some recent coast-to-coast fundraising marathons. An 8-month marathon, a 3-month bicycle trip, 4 cyclists on a 2-month trip, a 2-month bicycle trip, a 7-month run across Canada. These are noble people, but those are not great numbers. In fact, in each of those cases, more money would have been raised if the participants had simply gotten a job and donated their paycheck to charity. Go to coastal BC and you can get an entry-level construction job at about $20 an hour. Or you could go north to plant trees or work in a mine, where you can pull in upwards of $200 a day. And the economics get even worse once you start factoring in the huge cost of one of these marathons. Even the most bargain basement run across Canada is going to need support van, a few hundred liters of gas, a couple dozen pairs of running shoes, a whole lot of granola bars. Right now, a Lakehead University graduate is organizing a run from Vancouver to Ottawa to raise awareness of poor water quality on First Nations reserves. Before he takes a single step, he needs to crowdfund $23,000 just to cover trip expenses. This is why, in extreme cases, a fundraiser can find themselves in the awkward position of actually raising negative money for charity. This was the case with a BC man who recently set out on a solo run across Canada. After raising $18,000 to fund expenses and promotion, he had only raised about $9,000 for charity by the time he reached the Atlantic Ocean. That's negative $9,000 in donations. And this is why organizations like the Canadian Cancer Society are known to strongly advise people against staging cross-country journeys. They're expensive, they're dangerous, and the organizers, while well-meaning, usually don't realize what they're getting into. Happily, there are marathons that aren't failures, but that's usually because of one of 3 things. 1, you're already famous. 2, you're really, really good at promoting yourself. Or 3, you have a bunch of rich friends. Veteran mental health campaigners Carrie and Ginny Dennehy, for instance, raised $700,000 on a 2013 bike ride across Canada. Or Canadian Olympic boxer Mike Strange. He ran from St. John's to Niagara Falls in 94 days and he raised $250,000. It all depends on your social network. If you have a Facebook feed filled with lawyers and CEOs, or if you've got some solid connections with church groups or Rotary clubs, those are some folks who can kick you some serious coin if they see a picture of you struggling over the Rockies. But if, like me, you don't really have any friends, charisma, or a professional network, then yeah, just hopping on your bike and going to Newfoundland isn't the windfall you might think it is. Instead, get the highest paying and most brutal job you can, work it as long as you can, and donate the pay to charity. It's not as glamorous, but tell that to all the extra cancer you'll be curing.